BMRForum.com and BMROdds.com, boys. What is going on? Welcome back. Episode number 140 of The Lobby. As always, each and every week, Mr. Sam's in charge. What's up, Sammy?
What's up, Bobby? I think we're on 141, actually, to be honest with you. Let me look real quick.
141.
Yeah, last week was 140. We are now on 141. But
We are
simple
moving
math,
right
I
along.
definitely understand the frustration. It's early. It's 7:30 a.m. We normally do this at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, your time. So I get it. We'll give you the break. You just put a shirt on. You guys are lucky. You didn't have to see that pre-show. Tanko, he's listening right now. He had to witness it. He put it in the chat. Does Bobby always show up?
I had to cover
naked?
my eyes for a second there.
Reload,
Like, wow, I didn't know
we
what
thought
was
Bobby
going
knew
on
how to
there.
cover the camera. Watch this. Watch this. Boop, I'm gone. Boop, I'm there. Bobby still doesn't know the basics. We had to see.
I just
we had to see them
disappeared
boys
there.
out,
Watch.
Giggity. It wasn't too great. Before after we enter reload, we're gonna have to talk to you, Bobby, about your weight loss journey, weight gain journey, and get a progress. It wasn't pretty.
course.
What's going on, reload? How you doing?
Of course. Quick question still, though, Sam. Did you chub up?
No, absolutely not. No, if anything, it went back inside. It crawled inside.
Like
Upstate
a
New
turtle.
York last week was 65 degrees. Now it's 22 degrees. Reload knows what's going on in the Northeast. Every day is a different temperature. It's second spring. It's third winter. Luckily, it's not snowing, but every day is a new temperature. It's freezing today.
Oh, wow. Well, it is sunny and beautiful in Vegas. That's all I know. What's up, Reload?
Yeah, doing well here, guys. Looking forward to March Madness getting underway, and didn't do too well with the conference tournament week. That was wow, I was kind of on the wrong side of the tracks with some of those games. So looking forward to the bigger action this weekend.
Yes, let's definitely see if we can right the ship. And Sammy, you were asking about my weight loss or weight gain journey. No real progress one way or the other. I did weigh in this morning. I'm 242.4, 242.4.
What's the current strategy?
You know what? I do not have a strategy at this time. Unfortunately, diggity daggity do. I know you're listening. I know you said I had a plan all along. Unfortunately, there is no plan. Well, honestly, that's not 100% true. The plan is to try to eat better, which, as we all know, that's a hard thing to do. And also, I want to exercise more. It's easier said than done. Again, another hard thing to do. But Sammy, let's jump over to you and talk about not a hard thing for you. And we're not talking about your dick. We're talking about tennis, Miami Open. Let's get into it.
Yeah, Miami Open starts this week, just coming off the back-to-back Master 1000 at Indian Wells. Sunday was awesome tennis for any tennis fan out there. You had number one, number two, Sabalenka versus Rybakina. It went down to a third set tiebreaker. Sabalenka came from behind in the tiebreaker. It was an awesome match. Then 30 minutes later, followed right into – what's up, Bobby?
I'm trying just to show you, Sam. I don't know, for some reason
Nope,
it's not
we're looking at you.
cooperating. That's weird. Very strange. Oh, hold on. Technical difficulties, Sam. Okay, go on.
Yeah, but then it went back-to-back into Sinner versus Medvedev, which was a great match. It went back-to-back tiebreaker, 7-6, 7-6. Yesterday started a little bit on the women's side, and now today you start the men's side of things. It starts actually at 11 a.m., so basically right after this, we'll get right into the tennis action. So I got a few picks picked for today. All the main guys got to buy. They won't start until the weekend, but a week and a half, and then you got clay court action. In the Indian Wells, I ended up 44-31, just under 3 units won over the last couple weeks. So we'll see what happens for the next two.
Awesome. Well, good luck moving forward. Reload, let me jump over to you. Let's talk some NBA, buddy. What do you got today?
Yeah, I took a look at the NBA card. I know a lot of focus on March Madness this week, but It's still a good time for some NBA betting and opportunities. What I find is the bookmakers usually put the numbers for NBA up a little more early than usual while March Madness is going on. It gives you a better chance to grab some early numbers. There tends to be bigger action on the NBA games as well, so the line moves tend to happen more. So that's just some word of advice there. That doesn't have to all be March Madness this week, guys. Like, don't forget about the NBA. So for tonight's action, a couple of double-digit dogs I like. Brooklyn Nets plus 19.5. home dog with that number to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Boy, if the game was in Oklahoma, what would the line be? Wow. Oklahoma's they're in a back-to-back tonight. They squeaked by Orlando last night. I don't think we're really seeing like Thunder kind of basketball right now. I think they've gone down a notch here, asking a lot to cover a big number here in a back-to-back. So I think the Nets can at least squeak a backdoor cover there. And then also the Memphis Grizzlies plus 13 against the Denver Nuggets, another home dog spot. Nuggets in a back-to-back after a home win last night over Philly. The Grizzlies are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 as a dog of 9.5 or more. I know everyone thinks, well, all these bad teams are tanking and all that.
Right.
But there's the margin of victory to keep in mind, guys. You can tank and lose without losing big. And that's what these teams still want to show something. And I think these are 2 double-digit dogs tonight with the Nets and the Grizzlies that look like good plays. So I'm firing both of those.
All righty. Awesome, Reload. Thank you. Sammy, over to you. Some NBA talk. What do you got today, besides the Knicks, of course?
Well, the Knicks actually did win yesterday. They dominated the Pacers by 26 points. Great win. They're number 3 in the East, 2.5 game lead over the Cavs. They got a 1 game behind Boston. So, they're pretty solid there with, right now you're down to about the final 12, 13, 14 games of the season. So you only have about 3 weeks left until the 2.5 month playoff. Oklahoma City has already clinched. A couple teams are already eliminated. And you do have a couple teams, the Wizards and Pacers, that are on a 13 and 14 game losing streak. So, yeah, like Reload says, a lot of teams are losing. So that's why I'm kind of going with his strategy, but just the opposite of, hey, let's just take the team to win. There's 5 teams today that are double-digit favorites. Just take all of them in a money line parlay, and it actually pays minus 125. So it's not that bad. Denver over Memphis, Timberwolves over Utah, Portland over Pacers, Oklahoma City over the Nets, Boston over Golden State. All of them double-digit favorites. Take all 5 of them at minus 125. Obviously, a sucker's dream. That's a booker's dream right there. But you know what? It's impossible to take – the Nets at plus. It's a professional basketball team at plus 20. Like that's kind of crazy. But on the other side, if they're 20-point underdog, there's a reason why they're a 20-point underdog. So you know what? Just take them to win. Even the other night, the Knicks were a 15-point favorite over Golden State. They were down by double digits, and then they squeaked by. They won by 3 points. So double-digit teams can cover, but they find ways to lose.
Understandable. You could also look to do a teaser as well, either teasing those bad teams up or no. You're not a teaser fan, Sam?
Well, if you're going to take 19, what's plus 25, at a 6 points? You know what I mean?
If you're going to lose by 19, kind of a drag. Like they don't give you enough points.
Yeah.
To make it worthwhile, right.
You go back maybe 20 years ago or something, the early 2000s when games were lower scoring, tighter. I think they made sense once in a while. You could tease like a 2-point dog up to a 6-point dog or something, but these days, no. I think everyone stays away from those. It's parlay. We'll just go for the odds.
Easy. Supposedly, easy money and big payouts with little risk. But Sam, let me jump back over to you. About 10 days until spring training gets underway. Pretty soon, guys, we'll be talking baseball.
Yeah. We just had the World Baseball Classic, which was awesome. So I think it was a great way to bring baseball some excitement in the March time, because for me, spring training, I don't really necessarily pay attention to. It's more of like, I'll see the main headlines. I'll see if there's any major injuries, maybe see a headline or a home run or something like that. But the main guys aren't really playing that long. Again, it's spring training. It's just like the NFL, you kind of pay attention, but you're not really watching. But the World Baseball Classic was awesome. Did stink that United States lost. It was kind of one of those where their bats just got weak at the end. They had a ton of strikeouts. And they weren't getting on base. Bryce Harper finally came through in the bottom of the 8th with the home run, but then Venezuela got it back. So good for them. But, it was an exciting couple of weeks. At least there was some real competitive baseball to bet on, or to even just to watch. And then we'll get going in a couple of weeks. I got my fantasy baseball draft next Tuesday, so 6 days from now. I think the season starts next Thursday or Friday. So we're a week and a half away from us talking about real baseball.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time for sure. Reload, let me jump over to you. Do you have any edges when it comes to spring training as far as betting is concerned?
No, I stay away from the spring training games. Like Sammy said, just catch a glimpse here and there what's going on. I don't think there's really much you can go on there. But the comment about the World Baseball Classic, I just wanted to touch on that. I thought it was great too. We had an awesome World Series, and then we had a really competitive World Baseball Classic. So
Right.
if this isn't getting the fans back interested, I don't know what will. Of course, you're back to crummy weeknight, National League games that nobody cares about or whatever. But I like the World Baseball Classic. I do think they have to expand the format a little bit, though. It was tough. Like, take a team like Japan flying all the way over here and just lose in one game or something.
Right.
I'd like to at least make the quarterfinal round best of 3.
It would make sense.
Maybe the semifinal and final, that to all be like double elimination or something instead of single. Like I think the College World Series does that, right?
Basically, best 2 out of 3, yeah.
I think it's just really tough. These lineups are so loaded and everything, but
right.
You have the one loss and you're out. It just doesn't make sense for baseball.
Understandable. Sammy, let's talk some bracketology. I mean, now we got the games are starting this upcoming Thursday. Have you took a look at any opening lines? And just overall in the tournament, what's your opinion?
Well, let's before we talk tournament, let's reverse this back to you, because we got to break this down into a couple different fields. So
right, of course,
each individual field. Then you could talk Thursday and Friday games. But let's talk about your opportunity in the March Madness, which is really the most important thing, because you have an opportunity at $5,000 in Roofer's most generous contest out there in forum history, and all you have to do is hit 60% over 40 games. And if you make videos, which we know you'll do, you have to hit 57%, 24 wins out of 42 picks. Now, my biggest concern is a volume thing. I know you are not a volume bettor. I know you like to strategically make your picks, and you pick one pick here or there, where this is a volume. Now, you do have 42 picks over the course of the next 3 weeks, but there's less games over the next 2 weeks, where all the volume is over the next 4 days. So talk to me. Big contest, $5,000 on the line. What are you thinking? What's the strategy?
Well, first and foremost, Roofer, thank you for calling my number for this generous contest. It was completely unexpected, completely out of the blue. And believe me, I really, really do appreciate it. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. That being said, Sammy, I am not a big college basketball guy, as we all know. I very rarely bet college basketball. But looking into it, I'm going to be looking more towards totals. That being said, my strategy is to look more towards unders in this tournament rather than sides. That's going to be my initial focus going in. I'm going to be looking at totals rather than spreads. We'll see how that strategy works out. As you mentioned, I do have 3 weeks, but again, I do have quite a few picks to put in. Not to mention, I do have my daily vlog videos to make as well. But my initial strategy, which again, I'm not giving everything away because I want to keep some stuff for the daily videos. But right now, look for me to be playing a lot of totals versus sides in this generous contest.
And you initially said unders. Are you mainly sticking with unders versus overs? Or are you going to?
Correct. I'm going to mainly look towards unders versus overs.
Reload. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting. You would think totals are more beatable, but in something like March Madness, I still think it's a big crapshoot. There's so much that happens with these games, the late fouling and everything else. The getting used to the neutral court sometimes throws off shooting. So maybe it does help for unders. But
that's what I was.
We're going to see overs just cash by accident here and there because of
course,
whatever reason. So I do think something like March Madness, I'll be sticking more to the sides. But if you're selective enough, maybe you zero in on the right total.
And being, I do have to put up some volume. I think my strategy will hopefully work. Let's see how that goes. Again, Reload. Again, Roofer, thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. But Sammy, since we're talking about March Madness, let's dive a little bit into it. So far taking a look at the Thursday, Friday action. Anything jump out at you that you like so far?
Yeah. So first, let's talk the Thursday, Friday games. Then I'll talk about the bracket as a whole. So Thursday, just talking about game lines right now. I like Ohio State over TCU. The Siena Saints, the local team, super proud of them, super happy of them. Their first time making it to the tournament since 2010 when they went on that 3-year run. 2008 was the year I went down. Then 2009, 2010, they were a 9 seed. That's when they beat Ohio State in overtime. Which was one of the games of the tournament. That was awesome. So Siena, then they drew Duke, which was awesome. Jerry McNamara, obviously, again, Siena local team. So they had the coverage there. His face, I mean, it was right away. 6 o'clock, March Madness starts. They draw the black bracket. Duke, you're overall number 1, going up against Siena. His face was like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. It was just so funny. But I mean, that was everyone's reaction. That's what we're all talking about in the area is, oh, we're so happy for them, but they drew Duke. But you know what? 28 points is a lot of points. So, come on, Siena, obviously no chance of them winning. They're minus 10 or, plus 1,500 or something, but awesome for them to cover, at least be respectable. Other games on Thursday, like UNC over Virginia Commonwealth, Kennesaw State plus 20 versus Gonzaga, and Texas A&M plus 3 versus St. Mary's. Again, there's 16 games each day. These are what I'm taking now. There's going to be a lot more picks, I'm sure, the day of as the day goes on, especially because I'm going to be hanging out with my Vegas crew. So as we're hanging out, there's definitely going to be more bets that are put in. Friday, what I have written down right now, again, it's only 5 games out of the 16. So Texas Tech minus 8 over Akron, Hofstra plus 12 versus Alabama, Northern Iowa plus 10.5 versus St. John's, Purdue minus 25.5 over Queens, and Miami, Florida, minus 2 over Missouri. So again, 5 games each day is what I'm sharing, and there'll definitely be more as the day goes on. Gambler's dream that first couple days, March Madness, baby.
Yes, it definitely is. And, did you guys catch any of the Selection Sunday show? It's hilarious to me watching these teams being announced. Some teams went crazy. Some teams, had fans in the arena and everybody shouted and was really passionate. And other teams, looked just deflated.
Well, no, that happens every year. I mean, again, a team like Siena, they're just happy to be there. They're a Division I school, but they're a smaller Division I school. Their conference, you either win or you're not in. The ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, they all got 8, 9, 10 teams in. So you could be the 6th best in that division, but you're still going to go. A team like Siena, they were number 3 in the conference. That's your one shot. If you don't make it, you don't get there. So they're proud just to get there. So that's why a team like, Wisconsin, they know that, or here we go, a team like St. John's, they knew they're going to be in.
They knew they're going to be in, yeah, exactly.
Right? So when they got announced, I'd be kind of pissed too. They knew they're going to be in, but how did they get a 5 seed? They won their division. Yeah. They were, and then somehow UConn's a 2 seed overall. So, that's, and they're in the same half of the bracket. So that's pretty whack. So if I'm St. John's, I'm not happy. If I'm Siena, I'm thrilled.
Make it make sense. Reload, let me jump over to you. Thursday, Friday action. Have you taken a look at any of the card, and what do you got for us?
Yeah, I've looked at the games. I'm focusing right now on Thursday. I'm going to wait Friday for those lines to move a little, see what happens there. But being Thursday is right up upon us tomorrow, I've got some double-digit dogs that I like. First off, our favorite team on the show, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, are in the big dance plus 15 on Thursday against Arkansas. The game is in Portland, Oregon. And it's funny, there were guys on X saying, oh, Hawaii, big disadvantage. They have to fly thousands of miles for the game. No, they don't. Right. They just played in Vegas for the conference tournament, and they just have a hop, skip, and a jump to get over to Portland. If anything, it's Arkansas with a tough stretch here. They had to play a grueling SEC tournament, some tough games there. And then they get kind of shafted because they played Sunday afternoon, and now they have to just get right back and play Thursday afternoon on the West Coast. They'll probably win the game, of course, but to lay 15 points is asking a lot. I think Hawaii is going to make a nice showing here. They're proud to be in it. They won't win, but it may be closer than people think. And so I like Hawaii plus 15 there. Another double-digit dog, Troy plus 13 against Nebraska. I think Nebraska is kind of overvalued going into this one, and Troy is 2-0 against the spread. The only 2 spots they had this season as a double-digit dog, they covered in both of them, so that's good enough for me. Troy plus 13, look for that one. And McNeese State plus 11.5 against Vanderbilt. This is kind of more of an anti-Vanderbilt play. Vandy is 2-7 against the spread in their last 9 as a double-digit fave. Another line that's just too high, I think you're going to see McNeese State get the money there. So those are 3 for Thursday. I also like a couple of games tonight. The play-in game with Miami, Ohio against SMU. I'm going with Miami, Ohio plus 6.5 there. And Murray State in an NIT game plus 8.5 against Nevada. Nevada just 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 as a favorite. I took Nevada the other day. They fell way short for me there. So Murray State is the play at plus 8.5 tonight too.
All righty, Reload. Good luck with those. Sammy, let me jump back over to you, buddy. Just overall, I know we could break it down by bracket, which we'll go ahead and do. Give me your bracket by bracket conference picks. What do you like here?
Yeah, so starting with the East in the top left region, Duke, obviously, the number 1 overall team, my favorite team.
Yes.
And, obviously, almost everyone's pick. I do run the office pool. It's going to get like 20 people-ish, and most people do have Duke winning it all. Almost all of them will have them in the Final Four. And really, who's going to beat them?
Not to cut you off, Sammy, but I know historically every year, and I'm sure it hasn't come out yet, usually the president puts out a bracket. Has he done so this year?
No, normally Obama did that. Biden didn't
that
do
was
that.
an Obama
thing. Yeah, that was an Obama
I thought it was a presidential thing. Huh.
Yeah, no, it was an Obama thing. That was when ESPN actually
I remember
highlights and like interacted. It wasn't just like, it wasn't just the nonsense that it is now. People actually watched it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's beating Duke in that East region. St. John's, like I was just talking about, kind of shafted with the 5 seed there, and being in the same region as UConn. I'm not really sure why they did that. But I do have UConn into the Elite 8, but then Duke beating them overall. Over the last couple of years, the number 1 seed overall has done very well. Last year, all 4 number 1 seeds made it. So with this NIL, there hasn't really been any crazy Cinderella stories over the last couple of years. It has been pretty chalky. In the South region, I'm not really a big fan of Houston. I don't really like the momentum that they had going into this. They did lose a few straight games into the later portion of the year. And then they are the defending champion, but they lost to Florida last year, and now they're in the same region. They're set up potentially for that 1-2 in the Elite 8, which would be pretty exciting. Illini could be the sneaky expectation or the sneaky underdog in that region for someone to look out if you're trying someone to beat Florida versus Houston in that region. In the West, I don't know if anyone's going to be beating Arizona in that region. It's definitely theirs to lose. Purdue, they were the Big Ten champions, and they did beat Michigan. I don't know. I just don't think that they're going to have enough to beat Arizona. And again, if you're looking for an underdog, I don't know. I don't really love Gonzaga in there either. I guess it would be, you know what I mean? It's tough to find these underdogs and the Cinderellas over the last couple of years as the teams are tightening up. And then the Midwest, again, it's Michigan. That's the number 1 in there. You do have Iowa State, which I think is a good underdog to maybe steal that region if you're looking for a non-number 1 seed to win it. And again, I do not like Alabama. Another guy just got suspended on their team. He just had the drug charge and the marijuana or whatever he had, narcotics, whatever, 2.5 pounds. Aiden Holloway, I think he averaged like 8 points, a few rebounds a game.
Insignificant.
Missing him. Virginia's in that region. Tennessee, I think that could be a good 6-3 matchup. But yeah, I mean, again, I actually have a prop in there over 2.5 number 1 seeds to advance to the Final Four, and that's plus 200. Wow. Number 1s is like plus 800. I could definitely see Duke and Arizona. They're going to be the 2 most popular, obviously the number 1, number 2. Florida had a hot run. They were on a 12-game winning streak going into it, and then they got demolished in the SEC finals coming into this when they lost to Vanderbilt. So Vanderbilt's got a lot of momentum going into this. And then Florida and Vanderbilt have the potential again to play in the Sweet 16. So some of the matchups is pretty weird how they have so many, there are a lot of conferences with multiple teams in there, but it's like hard to, I guess, spread them out and stuff like that. But you could have some rematches early on in there. Like I said, Florida has a chance to play Vanderbilt and then right back next to play Houston, which is a rematch last year. St. John's and UConn in the same one in there. That would be a rematch. So, yeah, I mean, it's always going to be exciting. But, yeah, overall, I'm going to be taking Duke. I do have some long-term futures with Duke and Michigan and Arizona. So
Okay.
I do have some multi-sport parlays with free plays that I have in there.
Huh.
So I do have variations. So, and I got those, months ago. So I had them at, decent odds. So I'm rooting for the 1 seeds. I'm rooting for some chalk. And then really just comes down to individual matchups.
Awesome. Well, best of luck moving forward in the tourney. So, Relo, let me jump over to you. Same question, conference by conference. Overall, what do you like here?
Yeah, well, I'll start with the easy ones first. The Midwest, you got to go with Michigan there.
Right.
Like Sammy said, I think Iowa State could make a run. I see Michigan beating Iowa State in the Elite Eight and advancing to the Final Four there. In the West, got to go with Arizona. I do think Gonzaga makes the Elite Eight against them, but Arizona beats them there. And then we get to the trickier brackets with the East and the South. In the East, I'm going to take Michigan State to upset Duke. I think Duke's going to have a bad game, I think, sooner or later. And Michigan State's been playing some decent ball. They do have that pedigree of being in big games and everything else. So I think Michigan State is a sleeper team there. Upset Duke, make the Final Four. How big would that be? I mean, Michigan State and Michigan both make
Yeah, really.
There would be a lot of hype there. So I think Michigan State can get it done, and that's what I'd look for value. In the South, I'm going to take Houston to win the South, to beat Florida in the Elite Eight. Remember, the South regional final is being held in Houston, so I do think that gives them an edge. I think come game time, if it comes down to Houston and Florida, you might even see Houston favored, or at least the game be a pick, something like that, just because of the venue being in their advantage.
Right.
So I do see Houston getting it there. And then the Final Four, I'm going to see Arizona and Houston both advancing into the championship game over Michigan and Michigan State, and then Arizona beating Houston. So I'm going to go with an all Big 12 championship. But like we said, these teams are all pretty stacked. Anything can happen. I just think Arizona has been the most consistent. They've only lost twice this year. It's really hard to go against them. One was an overtime loss, and the other one was at Kansas, where everybody loses. So it's really hard to go against Arizona. As much as I like a nice underdog story, it just doesn't happen anymore in these tournaments.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Reload. And again, best of luck with all the action. Gentlemen, we will see you all on the forum. Best of luck with all the upcoming March Madness action. And again, we will see you around.